Hey everybody, Scoutcrafter here again, Mishmash Monday. We got a big mosh today, a lot of stuff to cover, but first of all, just a quick announcement. We're going to have 3 videos in a row, today, tomorrow, and Wednesday. I'm pretty proud of Wednesday's video. I think you're really going to enjoy that. That was one of my favorite videos that I've done. I mean, this is, I enjoyed making this and doing it. It's a tool restoration. And but for today's video, we're going to start off with, first of all, you wanted to see Sue and Pat, you know, upstate. You want to see the reaction to the Howdy Doody gift. So let's go check that out right now.
Well, yeah, the trees in the back.
Wow.
Really?
We had people.
Howdy doody.
Now, when I go upstate, one of my favorite places to stop is Lowe's in Middletown. And you remember I was up there a couple weeks ago. I did a kind of a scathing review on this Craftsman ratchet, you know, the one from China. Well, I went back there just the other day, and they had the new ratchets out. Now, you couldn't see them before because they were in boxes, but I made sure I went to the section to check them out. These are the new ones from Taiwan, and I have to tell you, they look great. Nothing like the Chinese ones. These things, the fit and finish on these is 10 times better than the other ones. And the weight, it's such a substantial weight to these ratchets. They really feel solid, and it's a nice design. You know, there's no crevices and things like that for rust to start. And it's just a really beautiful, you can see there, it's made in Taiwan. And just the way it's stamped, it's not laser etched, and the action is very smooth. You can hear it when you flip it back. The metal, you can hear. So I would definitely say that Craftsman has redeemed themselves as far as what they've done with their ratchet line, and probably the sockets are the same thing. So I'm happy to see that. Now, I went over to the hammer section, and you know, this is a good hammer section. When you can go to a big box store and you could see all the hammers displayed like this, it's a well-lit area. They got plenty of stock. And you could feel the hammer, you could touch it, you can, you know, this is what the good old-fashioned hardware stores used to be like. And the only one that wasn't stocked too much, I didn't notice till I was making this video, was right there. You see right in the middle of the screen there, there was one. It was a little Irwin, that 16-ounce Irwin. And when I look back, it was $2.49 on sale. I should have picked that up, huh? Okay, next up, we have a real quick. I always wanted one of these, you know, and while at Lowe's, I was looking around, and it was on sale. It was, normally these are $25. It was marked down to $20. And I've wanted one for so long, I said, you know what, I'm just going to get it while it's on sale. And what I like about this, you know, a regular hacksaw, which I have about 150 of them, no exaggeration, but the regular hacksaw, you can see the difference between here and this one and this one. First of all, it has the high tension capability, and what that means is with a regular hacksaw, you had to tighten up on this nut and make it really tight to use to get the blade so it doesn't wander on you or whatever. And remember, the 3 R's in metalworking is rigidity, rigidity, and rigidity. Well, this one really, these type of blades, it's been around for a long time. These type that can really make the blade dryer that uses the same technology, you know, the cam technology, where you tighten up this rod, it pulls the cam and tightens it up. But, you know, through computer science and sorcery, they came up with this design, which has been around for a while, but it really works well. You've probably seen my Starrett that has the same design. Here's the Starrett, same exact design. This one here is a little bit more metal, but this here has a curved one. The difference between here is some of the quote-unquote features that they have. You could store blades in here, and what you do is you unscrew this nut here, and nothing comes apart, but the blades just slip into this hollow tube, and then you put the nut back on. So nothing comes apart. That's just to stop the blades from falling out. This is an I-beam design, which looks pretty cool. I always love the color combination. The blue, white, and silver looks really nice compared to something like just the, you know, the red and yellow, which, you know, I'm just saying as far as looks go. And let me show you some other cool features. The blade on these, what you basically do is you just spin this here counterclockwise until it loosens up, and then the blade will pop off these 2 pins here. There's a pin in the rear and a pin in the front that holds it. And this is a one blade, one size hacksaw. Years ago, they used to have 10-inch, 12-inch, 14-inch, and that's why you had a lot of adjustable hacksaws. They pretty much standardized. They're all basically 12-inch now. But what's interesting about here now, if you want to put the blade on, you pop it on that front pin, and then again, pop it on the second pin, and tighten this up to, it says no more than 12 turns, but that would be a lot. But you'll see a secondary pin here. You see this pin here? And let me show you what happens when you put the blade on that. Now you can see the angle. It puts it at about a 45-degree angle, the blade, instead of being straight up and down. And the reason that's done like that is for flush cutting. Now, if you had a long board or something and you had to cut the nail off, by having this like this, you can flush cut it directly here. And you can see this doesn't touch the bottom, putting it at an angle. So you could get a nice flush cut. Whereas if you had a regular hacksaw and you tried to get a flush cut, this always would bring the angle up, and it would always give you a side cut, an angle. So that's one of the reasons I try not to browse in stores, because something usually follows me home. But this is that Lenox high tension hacksaw. Okay, real quick, I just want to talk a good word about anti-fatigue mats. These are those soft rubber mats. You can cut them into sections, but they usually come in like a 4 or 6 foot section by 3 or 4 feet wide. You put these down in front of a bench that you're going to be working in front of, and I'll tell you, they are absolutely fantastic, especially if you're going to be spending any amount of time. This one here has the kind of holes in it, but it's really it saves your feet, saves your back. Invest in these if you're going to be down the shop. It pays for itself. Next thing, I really just quickly want to talk about the magnetic pickup tools. If you do not have one of these, they are so cheap. You can pick them up for a couple bucks at most stores. Harbor Freight has a whole bunch of them. But these are really good to have, and they are a lifesaver. It's one of these tools that you won't use a lot, but when you need it, it comes in handy. And the reason I'm talking about this now is I was doing Wednesday's video, and a piece I was working on for the wrench fell down, hit the rubber fatigue mat, and shot under the bench. And normally it's never to be seen again, but because of this magnetic tool, this thing has saved my butt a couple times. I was able to extend this out, reach under the bench, and grab my part that I was missing, and would have been missing for years if I didn't have this. Now, one tip about this, the first thing that you always want to have if you're going to use these tools is a plastic bag, and I'll tell you why. You take a plastic bag, you put it over the end, and then you take a rubber band like this and you put over here. And the good thing about that is a lot of times when you go pick it up, you'll pick up some metal shavings and things like that, and it might get around the edge. This keeps everything on the plastic bag, and then you just slide the magnet out and everything falls off of the bag. So that's a good tip. But they come in all different shapes and sizes. Here's a small one for handwork. This one here is the type that you'll see a lot of times. They're magnetic. It's got a small magnet. Don't have quite the pickup, but if you see something, I've dropped things behind the washing machine and was able to go down and pick it up with this. A great tool. And this tool here, what's nice about this, got this at Harbor Freight. It's a magnetic pickup, and you can see here, it's got a release here. So what you do is if you had to pick up, let's say, these washers, and you had to pick them up, you just pull it over the washers like that. It picks them up, and then you get to where you want to put them down, and you just release them by pulling this handle up, and they all come off. Nothing sticks. So that's a nice little feature. Anyway, got to get one of these. It's a must-have. Okay, next up, a good friend of the show by the name of Tony Lange asked about cutting plexiglass. You know, he saw the Howdy Doody display case. He says, you know, how do you cut? And I'll tell you something, I struggled with it for a while. I've tried all different ways, you know, a bandsaw, all different kinds, and this is the best way. When I first wanted to cut plexiglass, I bought this plastic cutter. It says it's good. This, you're supposed to score it and snap it. I never had any luck with that. You know, plexiglass is one of those things. A lot of times, you know, it's expensive, and if you had to cut a piece, you want to make sure that it's going to work, because if you go to snap it and it breaks the corner off, you just wasted a whole piece of plexiglass. So this is the only way I'm 100% sure it works. This is the way I do it, and I'm just passing it along. What I do is I cut it on the table saw with a carbide tip blade. Now, for those of you who never used a table saw before, there's a little dial here that lifts the blade up, and you can adjust the depth of cut that way. Now, if I wanted to cut through this piece of plexiglass, what I do is I try and raise the blade up to just about half of the thickness of whatever plexiglass I'm cutting. So if I was cutting a 1/4 inch, I would raise it up at 1/8 of an inch. But here, all you have to do is just put one of these carbide tibs here up, like standing straight up, and drop the blade down until you could see that it's about halfway right here. You can see it's about halfway, and that'll score the bottom, and I'll show you how that works when we cut it. Okay, so here's the setup. What we're going to do is I'm going to just nothing more than just pass this over the blade. It's going to score one side of it with the blade because it's halfway up the length of this, and then I'm going to flip it and score another side. That'll just leave a little bit that I could snap it off, and that's the way I've been doing it. It works great. Let me show you how that works. We'll do it real time. Now, the reason I don't try and cut it all in one shot is because a lot of times you'll crack the plastic by doing that. I've done it before, and I've learned from experience. So I've found by scoring it on each side and then flipping it as you see I'm doing it, that is the best way I found to do it, and it always gives you positive results. Now, if you have a little bit of melted plastic, it pops right off of something. But look at that. That's a nice cut. And that's the way I do it. Now, the other side here, you know, that just will snap right off. You see here? That little bit of plastic will snap, and there you have. So that's how I cut plexiglass. Always works for me. I never had a problem, and I really like this system. Okay, lastly, Tony Lange, the same one that asked about the plexiglass, he also did all of us a great favor by introducing us to the International Tool Catalog Library. I never knew about this. Some of you probably know about it already, but I was late to the party, as always, and he sent the link to me. It is absolutely phenomenal. I'm going to put the link in the description. You got to check that out now. All these catalogs that you want to check out and see, it's amazing. Here we have the International Tool Catalog Library. This is just an amazing resource for all of us. Now, if you look to the left over here, you can see you can look by years, you can look by topic, you can look by author, but here we're just at some catalogs. Now, there are 3,585 different entries they have in here, but it's just amazing what they have. And the best part is it loads up so quick. So let's say we came across a catalog here, like this Yankee catalog. All we do is we click on here like that. It takes you right to the Yankee catalog. You see over here? Now, if you look to the bottom, if you scroll over, you'll see it says flip right, flip left. You go to flip right, and that opens up the catalog. And look how quickly you can scroll through this catalog. I'm just tapping the mouse each time. And I'll give you an example of what they have and how you could see. We could flip through this whole catalog. You can go through using that bottom bar and go even quicker. But what a great resource this is for us. You know, any tool manufacturer, any type of tool that you're looking for, I mean, this is just unbelievable. And then when you get to the end of the catalog, you see there, and then you could just go back and to the original page. So, Tony, thank you so much for this resource. I will have a link in the description. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. Hope you have a nice day. Take care now. Bye-bye.